Okay. So welcome everyone to the Urban Transition Mission Center's Virtual Coffee on Nature-Based Solutions in Water Management. This is a series of virtual coffees in different thematic topics. On the second slide, you will see our program for today. So I'm very, very honored and happy to give the floor in a couple of minutes to Charles Karangwa. He's head of nature-based solutions at the International Union for Conservation of Nature. And then to Dalia Sabri, technical advisor in water resources management and policy at the International Water Resources Association. And then I'm very, very happy to introduce also Nisrin Daoud from Amman City in Jordan. She's manager of sustainable development and Amman resilience unit at the Greater Amman municipality. Then Manuel de Araujo, a manager of Quelimane City in Mozambique. And last but not least, to Fatma Canmut. She's meteorological engineer at the Istanbul Water and Sewerage Administration in Istanbul, in Turkey. So this is our program for today. I will give a couple of minutes an introduction to the services of the Urban Transition Mission Center. So basically, everything that we provide is also reflected in this platform where we have our meeting today, our webinar today, but we also give assistance in funding, peer learning events, and capacity building. We are 7 partners. And the project will go on, the center will go on and will function until the end of November. But nevertheless, this platform is here to stay for you. And in the next couple of slides, I will show you a little bit of what it contains. Some of you may already have looked at it, but we have now more than 100 cities that are represented in the platform. So there are city profiles where you can get into contact with other city inhabitants of your city and exchange. We have today we're 888 platform users, so many users across all multi-level governance levels, from mayors and city staff to experts, representatives of academia and researchers, consultants, company and SMEs. And just to give you an overview of the services and what the benefits you get out of the platform. So we give funding assistance. There I will go into a little bit detail later. Knowledge repository, actual resources, databases, data, articles, and so on. Capacity building and exchange, such as the virtual coffee here today, other peer-to-peer trainings, but we also have dissemination and awareness activities. I will get into this a little bit later. In the next slide, you will see the UTM framework. So this is let's say a pathway, a guiding pathway that is guiding cities step by step with specific resources and related data to improve climate strategies and prioritize actions. So you can go through this framework from making a commitment to starting to set your targets and goals, over validation, monitoring, until setting the activities. And these are linked to the repository, to data that we gathered there, to city experiences, city profiles. So here you can really go through it and say, okay, at which stage am I, and where can I get more information and shared tools and solutions from other cities. And the funding assistance that I mentioned, so there's a finance and funding help desk. You can drop us an email on any question you have in your city, and we get back to you. The funding watch, the global funding watch, where we gather funding opportunities. You can screen them. There is a list searching also by keyword. And this is also being updated on a regular basis. And last but not least, the knowledge repository, where also finance-related documents can be found. You can look them up using keywords. And as I said, in the knowledge repository, you will see different types of resources, case studies from cities, different tools that we share, guides, reports, articles, and also event recordings, but also YouTube videos where specific tools are provided. And last but not least, the knowledge repository is there for you to share your experiences. So UTMC is providing or supporting you with resources. You can get back to us and we can together elaborate written case studies on your solutions, on your journey, promotional videos and interviews. So until November, we can support you still in providing these resources, which you can use then for promotional activities and dissemination in your country, in your city, or globally. And next, the capacity building, as I already mentioned, peer exchanges in the calendar, you can find them, virtual coffees as this today, and also other webinars from other networks and other initiatives that we are disseminating and promoting also in our calendar. And I think, yes, the 7 clusters. So you can also get into contact in a specific thematic field with the community. We have 7 clusters that reflect the urban transition mission priorities, from finance, governance, city scale data, transport and mobility, sustainable energy, nature-based solutions, and last but not least, water management. We are having our virtual coffee today in. So dissemination, we have also a newsletter if you're interested to receive it on a regular basis. As I already mentioned, the events calendar, look at it. The webinars are really, really interesting, and partnerships, you can also, if you want to get into contact through us with other partnerships, just get into contact with us. So this is the last slide. So please also disseminate among your colleagues this platform. So because it's living with your activity and with your engagement. And now I'm really happy to give the floor to Charles Karangwa. As I said, he's head of nature-based solutions at the International Union for Conservation of Nature. And you, Charles, are now currently working on urban and cities guideline for implementation of nature-based solutions. What can you share with us on this?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ellie, and your team and colleagues. I'm very privileged to be here joining this coffee discussion. I like the name, by the way. On behalf of the International Union for Conservation of Nature, just to share our reflections on not only water management, but also how does that connect with nature-based solutions, which is my day-to-day work. And of course, I think this is really a great opportunity that I believe should continue. I hope there's a mechanism that this kind of engagement and capacity building can continue, especially because the demand continuously increases to understand how to address different societal problems that are pressing. Not so long ago, I think cities and built infrastructure were viewed with suspicion by the conservation community. Remember, UCN is completely a conservation organization. And it's true that elements of cities and built infrastructure includes water. And water demand will continue to increase as a result of population increase. We can talk about that happening in the middle of planetary crisis and biodiversity loss and climate change, which makes even this worse. And the consumption and the demand absolutely is surging. You can feel that in Africa, in Europe, in Asia, the demand for water is absolutely going higher and higher and higher and higher. And last 2 weeks, I was in China. I was working with the renowned proponent of Spongy City. He's called Professor Yu Kongjian, who is a champion of this. And over the last 20 years, he worked tirelessly on bringing a political understanding on the conventional, the risk of conventional engineering norms, and try to help create a new vibrant movement of ecologically resilient, aesthetically enriching, and economically viable green infrastructure that addresses mostly water issues, including controlling floods, remediating industrial contaminated soils, naturally treat polluted waters, reinvigorating local economies, and he has now covered more than 250 cities in China, right? And interesting discussions we had was that nature and water are inseparable. You cannot talk about water if you don't talk about actually nature restoration, sustainable management of watershed and riverbanks and the rest. And without reflecting this element of nature in the water design, in water engineering, in water projects, I think, to be frank, we are talking to ourselves, I might say. And for us working with nature, that's what IUCN, we call it nature-based solutions. It's as simple as that. And it represented a kind of green social contract that nature will continue to safeguard and enrich and reward society in a tangible ecosystem service benefits. But at the same time, the society will continue to protect, to conserve, to sustainably manage nature and related ecosystems for sustainable access. Of course, I think I don't need to talk about water crisis. I mean, I come from Africa, and a recent study showed that one of the major crises that the continent will face soon, by 2030, includes actually water. And I realized it's not only in Africa, it's in Asia, in the Mekong region, it's in all critical basins that we can think of. And the reason is simple, is because the more we increase the demand of water, the more we degrade the habitat where water should be conserved and protected. So we have a lot of hope in nature-based solutions, right? So, and as we talk about water management in this webinar, I think we should connect it with the previous topic of nature-based solutions, because that's how we can make these water management issues understood. And nature-based solutions, of course, brings a new way to as a powerhouse, right? As a powerhouse of healthy ecosystems, working with wetlands and basins and forest and river, watersheds and integrated to improve water security. But that's not enough. I think the whole entire systemic and scientifically proven hydrological model that we depend on is a natural engineering system that cannot exclude nature-based solutions when you talk about management of water systems, restoration of water. I have worked on a number of projects in my career. I was the director of IUCN in Rwanda, where we were working on protecting a basin. And this was a very high slope, 60 to 70% of high slope, high rainfall area, very shallow soils that was inducing landslides and taking lives of many people. How do you address that? The water pollution. The agricultural production systems is hugely suffering of that entire ecosystem collapse. How do you address that? So we have worked with nature for 4 years to find the restoration of that basin and reduce soil erosion in water. And that have improved the water treatment caused by the water treatment industry downstream, which was actually the cost of treating water had increased by 4,000% because of sediments and saturation in water. But think about the health implication of that water treatment. 14 times of cycling water into chemicals to get at least a clear water, not necessarily yet clean. It was impacting health of people. So all those are kind of integrated issues that we can think about. And the growing interest and investment in nature-based solutions, of course, especially for water and management of water system, I think it's something we can absolutely celebrate, that it's picking up. And the work we are doing with the mayor and others and many other leaders of the globe is very critical to continue raise awareness of this solution. And I want to try to conclude with few examples that I have been personally involved in. And we are seeing that. I mentioned Rwanda, but you can talk about this in Bangkok city. You can talk about in Paris, where the city of Paris have decided to actually improve the water management system and restore green spaces and waterways and the lights to try to make this much more resilient to different ecosystems. And that leaves us with maybe a couple of points to think about and reflect on, because I probably don't need to overemphasize this point. Number one, I think nature is our first line of defense in water crisis. Right? And it must be protected, must be restored, and intentionally and strategically, this issue have to be integrated in our planning, urban planning processes. Number two, we cannot undermine any longer the role of nature and nature-based solutions in water security. And we need to design these nature-based solutions in a highly integrated way with integrity and avoid greenwashing, because there's a lot of greenwashing happening all over the place. And IUCN have worked tirelessly to support how to design water management solution with a global standard. And that helps basically designing solution with high integrity. And then there's a need for a transition towards a water solution, a water management system that do not exclude nature, because that's where we need to make a win-win solution. This solution, either engineered or ecosystem-based, have to put nature at the forefront, because water is a huge ecosystem service that is produced. So government and businesses, and financial institutions must adopt this integrated model of nature as part of this solution design. And then finally, I will leave you with this question because I need to stop talking. Does a city of the future, does a water security of the future exist without nature and biodiversity? I will stop talking, and thanks, Ellie and colleagues. Over to you.
Thank you very much for these insights and your enthusiasm. And the last question, which we can discuss. Are there any questions from the audience to Charles, because he will be leaving sooner? Is there something immediate that needs to be answered before I give the floor to Dalia? Just unmute yourself and ask.
I just have a comment, maybe, Charles. Thank you so much for this very comprehensive overview from your very vast experience on the topic. And I was just wanted to connect 2 points that you mentioned throughout your narrative. It was one, the political understanding. So you were working with this professor and the Chinese citizen, the political understanding of the risk of the traditional systems. And then also I want to connect this with this idea of avoiding greenwashing that you mentioned in your second point. So it's really difficult. How do we put this nature-based solutions in a platform where we really put the benefits that they have? So they are mostly profitable, but it's really hard to understand that. So how do we put the message that there's a lot of profit and a lot of losses that we will face if we don't use these strategies? And how do we do this in the best way possible?
Or $1 million question, I might say, because I think, well, I am a trained economist, and in my career, of course, I have to confess that the economics I have learned in school did not necessarily understand the link and the benefits and the value of ecosystem service as part of the development and the definition of GDP and all other macroeconomic indicators that we look at. But I guess the narrative is changing also simply because we have built a system, and that system is collapsing anyway. With climate change, we have built a very water-strong system. I always look at the example of the Netherlands. Why are they thinking about water 100 and plus years ahead? It won't actually rely on the infrastructure they have put huge investment into. It will need to be an integrated and understanding of the natural functions of ecosystem if that system have to be resilient. But you are right. We need to do more work as business people, as economists, as ecologists, as social scientists, not only to educate, but also to produce business models that integrally brings the value of ecosystem service in the economic and financial decision-making processes. And it is still a struggle because people think, yeah, it's an easy way to do an engineered solution. But I think, and it's a straightforward, but at the same time, we have done this already for decades and generations, and it's proving not to be efficient with climate change and other crises. So I think probably political ignorance is still there, but there's more champions who are also educating that. The second, I think, the scientific community needs to do more work, especially, and you would agree with me, colleagues, that conservation and ecology have been a world on its own. And economics have been a world in its own. And social science have been a world in its own. And education. So I think the needs to bring all those integrated way together now, not later, will be critical in trying to address some of this very important question. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Charles, also for raising the issue that the economic system as such cannot be continuing as it is, and we shall focus and prioritize maybe well-being and health before profit and other indicators. Now I would like to turn to Dalia. Dalia, you have been working with smart urban water management solutions. Can you give us a little bit an insight on what this is, and if it's also including nature-based solutions?
Thank you, Eli. First of all, I would like to thank you for the invitation, and Carol also. Hi, we met in Cairo. Nice to see you again, and I'm really appreciate the invitation and being here with you. So I will go quickly on give a brief introduction on the nature-based solutions and the concept, which has become very key topic around the world recently for sustainable development of cities and rural areas as well. So yeah, it was introduced by the European Commission in 2015 and the IUCN, and the concept has become immense interest in the scientific community. So natural-based solutions commonly understood or defined as actions which are inspired by, supported by, or copied from nature. This is how we understand the nature-based solutions. So it aims at preventing natural disasters, to make urban areas safe and resilient, and can be achieved in combination with technological and engineering solutions as well. So it has natural-based solutions have been proposed as key opportunities for adapting to climate change, attain sustainable development goals, and more. It's more general concept to contribute to a better future for people and nature. So the if we speak about the urban context of these natural-based solutions, as we see now that the urban regions and cities around the world are facing natural disasters like heat, droughts, and floods, as well as urban pressures, for instance, like air and water pollutions, and as well as resources management insufficiency. So, how consequently the sustainable development of urban areas have resulted in decision making being caught in challenging situation, while we have to solve the problem of excess of one resource and the lack of others. So therefore, based on individual cases, it seems rational to consider the possibility of implementing the concept of circular economy. I was lucky to work on a project with the European. It was funded by the European Union on circular water economy, and it was implemented in like a couple of cities in the Mediterranean region to discuss and research how we can implement the concept of circular water economy in urban cities. So instead of defining the problem and only and trying to find a solution for one aspect, we try to have a holistic approach to all the problems together and reach a solution for the urban system. So if we talk about the sustainable urban water management and the natural-based solutions, we can categorize them in couple of points, like stormwater management, flood protection and risk management, also implementation of blue-green infrastructure, urban water in the field of in flood water and energy ecosystem, which is known as the Wi-Fi nexus. People all know it as this, and also the water pollution control and constructed wetlands. So I would like to speak for a couple of minutes on the stormwater management, which is a big problem and has become an increasingly multidimensional issue in the recent years. Stormwater presents very distinct qualitative and quantitative characteristics from domestic sewage. So it is recognized as a most important source of heavy metals, and whereas the wastewater also constitutes the main source of organic and nitrogenous pollution. So it contains good things and bad things as well. So in many countries, like I think different countries around the world, they have separate sewer network systems. While, like for example, in Egypt, we don't have it. We have only one system, so we don't have separate systems. So when you have separate systems, the most rainwater network is charged directly to the receiving sewer system, and the receiving water without any purification, which is a serious threat to quality of such water. So this is particularly dangerous, like for small water courses flowing through the cities. When you pollute the main water source in the city with rainwater or drainage systems exceeds the hydraulic capacities, so the more water will be available in the runoff. Um, so, I mean, until recently, like in the 90s, it was believed that the best solution to rainwater problem in cities is to have a good drainage system. While now people, our scientists are debating that we should have more urbanized and more holistic approach to this problem. So also this problem is exacerbating by climate change, which is leading to more volatile rainfall patterns. Like we have extreme events, like more floods and more rainfall in some cities, which were not used to have these flash floods before. Like I think I will give one example. In Poland in 2016, they had a very heavy flash floods, which the city were not used to it, and it caused a lot of damage and floods in the city. So on the other hand, also the long period without precipitation or rainfall, there's causing problems, like as we saw in Germany, like a couple of years ago, when they had drought in the Rhine and so on, and there were not enough water in the rivers and the water streams. So despite the risks that water can pose in urban spaces, we should look at it as integral part of the city and a vital source. For of course, water is life, and we cannot live without it. So, from human health also perspective, it is necessary to integrate water in the urban layout. And I always thank Eli for introducing the water aspect in the urban discussion, because usually it is overlooked, or they look at it as a separate topic. So it's very important to integrate water in the urban layout. So the modern approach of the urban planning assume that we use the most natural technological solutions, like eco-engineering. When we deal with water, we have different now technologies. It's also included under the natural-based solutions, like green roofs, bio retention systems, hydrophile system that combine the function of purification and retention and provide ecosystem services to the returning rainwater to the local water cycle by evapotranspiration. Um, just we know that the natural ground is cover is like 10% runoff, and 40% coming through evapotranspiration, 50% comes through infiltration, while the 55% coming from the runoff. So water is very it's very important to manage the water in the cities. Um, the and the existing water management system we have are not sufficient in many cases, and we see that we have a lot of problems. There is a need to solve the problem of quantity and quality of water in order to implement the concept of an urban water circular economy. The synergy of constantly growing urban areas with impervious services and pollution associated with human activities and climate change, with increasing number of meteorological extremes like as we said, climate change with extreme heat and floods or drought, requires a new approach for the cities to become more resilient to socio-environmental pressures. Also, natural-based solution we are used we get to help us to manage flood and in risk management. They can be very cost-effective ways of achieving flood protection by tapping into natures and absorb excess water. Also, it is when we implement natural-based solutions, it helps in preventing natural disasters and make most urban areas safe and resilient. Um, I'll give one example that in developing cities like there is a loss of circularity. I mean the concept of circularity is very important that we should really focus on it. It's often the hydrological cycle now is altered by implying the water is not it's the water is it's the hydrological cycle by many activities is not going as it was before. So this causes some disruption to the natural water bodies. So this loss of circularity is uh, can result of reduction of soil infiltration capacity, can cause fast surface runoff, and can cause huge problems to the city because the water cycle is replaced by another cycle that is not suitable for the human beings and for the living in cities. So I would like to keep the time in mind, but I don't want to go through all details. But I will jump to one example from China, which is implementing the blue green infrastructure. It's a very good example, and I really recommend anyone interested in this to read about the Sponge City initiative in China. It's a very interesting initiative. They have implemented a lot of green areas. And we can see from it that the complex relationship between rainwater infiltration, stagnation, storage, use, and drainage are all managed at the community scale. They have more greenery area. They can manage the flood, and also it gives a good scenery for people who like to walk and green areas and so on. Um, Also, I'd like to jump just quickly to give some examples of nature-based solutions and for urban water management in Egypt and other countries. In Egypt, like example, we have in Alexandria, which is a city on the north coast on the Mediterranean Sea. We have a project called wetland restoration, and this wetland restoration is underway to restore the shoreline, the coast, to enhance the coastal production because we have a lot of erosion from the waves and due to climate change and sea level rise. So we had a lot of problems with coastal erosion. So this restoration project aims to reduce the flood risk and water pollution and providing habitat also for migratory birds and supporting local fishing communities. We also have Green Cairo initiative, which is a part of greening the city and having more green areas and urban parks, also green roofs and green corridors to manage storm water, reduce urban heat islands, and enhance also water qualities. If we see also from in the Nile Delta, we have zone restoration, which is also restoring the banks of the River Nile, um, using native vegetation to reduce erosion, also improve water retention and enhance groundwater recharge. One example from Emirates, they have also mangrove restoration project in Abu Dhabi. They have undertaken extensive plantation of this kind of this mangrove plants on the coastal line to also to protect the coastal line from storm surges, reduce salinity level in water, and enhance also biodiversity. There are a lot of examples, but I will stop here for the sake of time. I don't know if I just want one thing I would like also to say that there are a lot of challenges for scaling natural-based solutions, and this we need to discuss really. If we talk about the water management, we need to talk about the challenges and opportunities like policies, regulatory barriers, financing and investment. Public awareness and capacity building. People should be aware also and be involved in these initiatives, and they should learn more about how these natural-based solutions projects can improve their lives and build resilient cities and urban areas for them. So I just quickly stop here for the sake of time and to allow others to speak. Thank you again for very much.
Thank you very much, Dalia, for the overview, for the comprehensive overview, for the examples, and also for your suggestions for the content of the upcoming virtual coffees, maybe, but for the upcoming discussions for sure. Thank you very much. And as we have spoken about examples in cities, I would also like to welcome Nisrin Daoud from Amman city, and maybe we can immediately go into the experiences that the Greater Amman municipality is facing and how nature-based solutions are implemented there. Nisrin, welcome, and thank you for your contribution.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to share the experience of Amman in implementing nature-based solution. We approached using nature-based solution on several levels of planning. On strategic level, citywide, long-term planning, it was integrated in the resilience strategy, on the metropolitan growth plan, and on the short, medium-term planning, it was also integrated in the climate action plan, on the green city action plan, on the greening policy of the city of Amman, and then down to the initiatives and project level. We implemented several projects addressing climate risks. We have the climate action plan with an ambitious goal to reach the zero carbon goal by 2050. And in order to reach this goal, our plans focus on 6 main pillars: on building and energy, on mobility, waste management, water management, urban planning, and climate change. And in order to understand the challenges that we are facing as a city, we work on the climate risk assessment report, where we focused on 3 risks: flooding, high temperature and urban heat, and drought. These are the main three challenges that are facing the city of Amman now. And cross-cutting all of this is the water scarcity. Jordan is one of the poorest countries in the world regarding water availability, along with also the lack of natural resources. We depend on importing energy from the neighboring countries and the water resources as well. So nature-based solution was the best approach to address these challenges due to the it's not simplicity, but it's the nature-based solution. Understand the nature. It's from the nature, and to go back into the history, we used nature-based solution through the history with dams, with even the building materials, the building orientations, the type of building materials that we use. It is implemented through the history. But it is now under a strong framework for the city of Amman. So for drought and urban heats, we worked on urban farming and urban agricultural projects. We have one project that is urban rooftops gardens. And this was a pilot project, later on expanded on implementing an urban farming hub. In one of our parks, we implemented a farming and agricultural training center where we train people how to plant trees in their own houses and their own rooftops, and we provide them with raw materials, with the seeds, with the planting tools, with everything, along with the training on sustainable planting methods. And we worked on the green infrastructure on several underprivileged neighborhoods, especially where the refugees are residing. So we work on improving the green infrastructure of these neighborhoods in collaboration and participation of the residents themselves. We met with them. They proposed the solution. What can we do with the sidewalks, the parks, the small empty lots where we call them urban micro lungs, and they personally planted the trees. They did the paving, the paintings. And we worked on methods called cash for work, where we pay them a small amount of money for them to actually to build these locations. For the flooding, we worked on strengthening the resilience of the city against flash flood. The project itself consists of 5 components: the assessment, and hazard mapping, flooding mapping of the city of Amman, using planning tools, resilience tools that was used with residents of these neighborhoods. Some pilots project that I'm going to talk about, one of the case studies that was implemented recently. We worked on the capacity building of both the communities and the officials of the city of Amman. Not only the city staff were provided with a full training program on flooding and nature-based solutions, but also the communities in these neighborhoods. And we worked on long-term and still working on our long-term awareness campaign for the communities. One of the successful case studies that we show that it showed its success of nature-based solution. We implemented a green triangle. It's a triangle on an intersection that leads to Amman downtown, which is the highest risk area of flooding. The project used bioretention and bioretention's areas for flooding, and on the surface as on pools. And there's also a tank, underground tank, that prevent the water from going into the stormwater network during the heavy rains. It retains the water for a period of time during the heavy rains. Then it will go gradually after the rain, and at the end of the rain season, it will be closed as a water harvesting tank to be used on the whole area for agricultural purposes. This is one of the successful story. We didn't have any flooding incidents in the downtown last year and this year as well. So it shows the success of this project. And during the whole process, we had several lessons we learned. We need to work with the public. We need to work with the stakeholders. We need to engage with them. And it's a continuous learning process for the city and for the communities. We need to work also on science-based targets. So this is the briefing of our case study.
Thank you so much, Nisran, and congratulations. How easy it sounds and how easy it can be, right? But it's a lot of effort behind. We lost you a couple of seconds before your last comment. So are there any questions directly to Nisran? Thank you very much for the insights from Amman City. And congratulations again. No, if there are no questions. If there are no questions,
I think I can have a question afterwards, but there's maybe a couple more presenters that would like to have a word, and then we can go to questions maybe.
Yes, we have two city representatives still. So I would like also to welcome the mayor of Quelimane City, Manuel de Araújo. I hope I pronounced it correctly in Portuguese. I hope. So welcome. Would you give us a couple of insights and ideas how you use nature-based solutions in Quelimane City, Mozambique? And welcome again.
I think our colleagues from Quelimane were joining in and jumping out. They might lost connection, so maybe we can go through Istanbul and then we can.
Yeah, definitely. Fatma, can you hear us? Are you connected? Fatma Ejanmut is from the meteorological engineer. I introduced her at the beginning from Istanbul Water and Sewerage Administration. Fatma, can you hear us? Yes. Can you unmute yourself? Would you like to Karel, can you maybe share the presentation of Fatma?
I don't have it. If you share it with me, I think I could.
You don't have it. It is on the portal, but I can send it to you. Or Fatma, do you want to? I can to start while I am sending the presentation to Karel.
Fatma, I think you might have problems with your microphone. If you go out and come back again while we exchange the presentations and try to put it online. Let's see if that works. Maybe it would be great to hear from you. Thank you. Yes, I think she just did that. So if you send it by email, because I couldn't download it.
Yes, I did. Sorry, Karel. I should have done this before.
Thank
Sorry.
you, no problem. Let me just check really quickly.
But maybe I have one question. If Nisan is still here, I'm really fascinated by all the
Yes, I'm here.
examples.
Yeah.
Hi. So how, I mean, you said it was an easy approach and as accepted from nature, but still the acceptance and the awareness. You said you have a long-term awareness campaign on nature-based solutions.
Yeah.
It's still not understood by the majority of people how to use it, right?
Yeah, it is understood by the city officials now.
Mhm.
It's a common practice
Mhm.
in our approach in addressing the city challenges. But in order for any project to succeed, we need the support of the public and the community. This
Mhm.
is the approach that we are working now
Mhm.
on urban agriculture, in addressing flooding, on
Mhm.
even the whole reaching our goal in the climate change and the zero carbon goal. We need the support of the communities and other entities. We are working now also with the Ministry of Environment, with aligning our work with the national level. It's
Mhm.
it's teamwork with everybody involved. Yeah,
Sounds like really a success story. I really
yeah. Thank you,
admire your work.
thank you.
I have the presentation now, Eli. I think we just need Fatma back again, or anyone from that it's here from
From Kilimane, right?
from Istanbul as well.
Okay, yeah, or yeah.
So we have, of course, if the colleagues from Kilimani might have some other duties as well, we can also share the presentation they gave us. But let us
Yeah.
just wait a little bit for Fatma if she can connect again, because she was having some technical difficulties. Or anyone from Istanbul municipality would like to jump in the presentation, and I can start sharing it as well.
Yeah, this is a pity, but I think this discussion so far was very interesting and insightful. Let's see if we can
I'm pretty sure.
show one or two examples still.
Yes.
Otherwise, we will have to organize a second virtual coffee on inviting
Also.
Kelimane and Istanbul, Karel. As Dalia said, you can never discuss too much the water management aspect in urban issues. So, not a problem to raise it again.
Yeah, I think now we have two coffee breaks.
Exactly. Let's see.
Yeah, I think you have the presentation here, but we are missing the speaker now.
We're missing the speaker now. She was there until the last minute.
Yes.
But
Also,
I have to say, I had a problem with my internet connection as well today. Something is going on in the morning, so I was really worried that. But we will provide to you the presentation definitely, so you can have a look. And if you would like again to meet, we can also organize an informal coffee chat among us and discuss further examples. But
yeah.
nevertheless, just want to raise the possibility to enter or to be part of the thematic group of water management. I think Dalia is already there, but Nissan, if you want to, and other partners, just to click on becoming member of this group, so you are in the discussion and in the community, and whatever needs to be discussed, you can discuss it there with like-minded.
Yes. So we also wanted to add on that, Eli. I think we've seen many water management system problems. We face technical difficulties as well in our technical systems now. But we're happy to get together again, because we're probably running out of time now, and it was a
We have
very
2 minutes still, so
very extensive and light conversation, I think. But we can probably get together around in a couple of weeks or a month. But having this discussion, as Eli mentioned, and inviting you to continue the discussions there, and maybe get together to see in depth these presentations and words from Istanbul, which look very nice, and also from Kelimane and other cities that are also facing probably the similar challenges that you're facing, Dalia, Nisrin, and all the colleagues here. And specifically, Dalia, sorry, Nisrin, I will write you an email, because these 5 cases that you mentioned, they're also really nice to see if we can portray them, as Ellie mentioned, in the knowledge repository. So especially those topics about the lessons on how do you work with the people and how do you engage them in a continuous process. So we'll be happy to do that. I think I see a message. Fatma's trying to connect via mobile phone from Hasi. Let's wait a couple minutes maybe, and then if not, we can, as we were saying, Hasi, we can leave it for another moment. We're so sorry about these difficulties, but they happen, and we have to be resilient with them as well. And we can just reschedule to have this discussion in a more prolonged manner. Up to you, Ellie.
Yes, thank you, Karel, for your final words. I think, not to bother Fatma and have her and spare her the stress, we can really get together again and go maybe into more detail, or see to discuss some things that are maybe prioritized in your cities, and get a little bit more in-depth discussion, if you all agree. Since it is 1 o'clock, I want to thank all the speakers again and all the participants. Sorry to face this technical problem, or internet problem, connection problem, and not having covered so many cities as we planned. But nevertheless, we had many insightful exercises, not exercises, but city experiences. And Karel, thank you also for sharing the presentation. And let's keep in touch. Maybe this is a good occasion to keep in touch and plan for another virtual coffee. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you to all the speakers and the participants.
Thank you.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah, you never